There we go. Hello, welcome to Casual Chat. And Jim, you want to start us off here?
Oh,
You-
you volunteer me for that? Oh, okay. Recently read a tweet about Donald J. Trump responding to Scalia's death. Uh, I just read it to Rebecca, and then hang on a second here. And anyway, let's see here. Darn it, Rebecca, you put me on the spot so quickly. That was terrible. Hate you.
Sorry.
Okay, hang on a second. Oh, here it is. Donald J. Trump on Twitter, quote, I wonder if President Obama would have attended the funeral of Justice Scalia if it were held in a mosque, question mark. Very sad that he did not go, exclamation point, end of quote.
Hmm.
So there we go. We have a random topic.
Yep. And mm,
And with that, I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be right back.
okay. Anyone watching? Everybody. So the latest of Donald Trump and Scalia. Apparently, Obama didn't go to the funeral. So, and he's made the comment if he would have went, would he went if it was at a mosque? And so that's the question. There's still a way, so you gotta invite, join them in. Uh, they, they should be back shortly. So.
Rebecca, Becky,
Yeah.
I wanted to invite Robert Stone.
Okay. Cool. I'll invite him right now. Okay.
Not right now.
Yeah. And this. And he's not on this one, so yeah, go ahead and add him.
Oh,
You know how?
I don't know if I can do it. Can I do it from here? From the old version?
Mm-mm.
Uh, no. I'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way.
Okay. So did you hear the question he had, or the article he had read, or tweet from Donald Trump?
Me?
Tony? Yeah.
No, not exactly.
Uh, Donald Trump had made a tweet. I guess it was Donald Trump made a tweet about Obama not attending Scalia's funeral. I said wondered if Obama would have attended if he had been his funeral had been at a mosque. That
Oh,
was his tweet,
shit.
more or less.
Well, all I can say is it would have been one hell of a gesture.
Mm,
You know, he won that peace prize and escalated the war or whatever he did
yeah.
along those lines. You know, I thought it was a pretty hollow award.
Yes. And he got another one too.
Yeah, I think he did. I can't remember what
He's
it was
got.
for.
I can't even.
What was it?
I think he got a Nobel Peace Prize again.
For what?
The Nobel Peace Prize again, I believe.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, I tell you. Like the lady says, you know, you just can't dream this shit up.
Yep.
But I'll tell you something else that I heard a few years ago. You might have heard it also. That there were 20 attempts by terrorists foiled by the FBI,
Dang.
and 17 of them turned out to be FBI operations. In other words, they were busting themselves.
Yeah.
It's weird shit. That was a few years ago, too. Probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Mm. So Jim, you think Obama would have attended if it would have been in the mosque, or what do you think it's all about?
I I said that if he had of if he had have done that, that would have been a great gesture toward peace in my
Hmm.
book.
Yeah, that's interesting because um, I think he has some prior knowledge of being in a mosque other than the United States. Is that true?
Well, I saw, but you know how the internet is. But I saw this on it was an outtake, but I can't remember who was interviewing him. But it was one of the top three networks, and he made the statement in reference to the interviewer's prompting that he made the statement, quote, "I am a Muslim." And I had to paraphrase there too because I think there
Yeah.
was a little more he said. It was very embarrassing as far as I was concerned. I felt bad for the guy there for a second.
Rebecca, what's your thoughts on that?
Um.
Did you see it?
What?
The
The
video of
tweet?
him.
The tweet? I
Oh.
posted on the
Oh
side
yeah.
chat
I was looking at it, and y'all got to talking there. So.
Oh, okay.
just so you can see it's quoted.
It's just more. I think the tweet in itself. It's just to make people. He's want people to vote for him because he's against Obama. You know, and he would do better. Yeah, it's like y'all said. So,
Just a wedge, a divisive wedge.
mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. Well, at least he's scratching and crawling and doing everything he can do to get elected.
Yeah.
I'm not an Obama supporter in any shape or form, or anybody else as far as that goes.
Yeah, me neither.
I lost a little bit of faith, what I had left, I think, after the Ron Paul situation. And now his son's in the Senate, I believe, and I don't know. It's all keeping it all in the family.
Yep.
But now I can't say that's what's in the man's heart, but that's the way it
Yep.
looks to me. I don't know if Rand Paul's even running this year. He might be a late horse in.
Mhm.
And I know about 6 years ago, I would have voted for him hands down. I'd have been like an Obama enthusiast when it came to Rand Paul. That's probably a mistake. Whoa, glad I thought about that. I don't think you can put your trust really in him.
No, you can't.
It's like uh what was his name? Bill Hicks.
Mhm.
Bill Hicks, and I have to paraphrase here, but he told a story where uh, a few hours after he'd been elected president or governor of Minnesota, I believe it was, that he was taken to a room and showed a video of an angle of the day Kennedy got murdered uh, that no one has ever seen before in the public. And, then they turned on the lights. You got any questions, Mr. Ventura? And that was the end of that meeting. But I don't think he was talking about Ventura now. I think he was talking about the president. It was a
Yeah.
joke, right? So, I mean, they show you what they can do to you, and everybody knows what happened to JFK.
Mhm.
It's one of those things, though. We lost our champion. Even if he was in Marilyn Monroe the night before, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
That's what I had an instructor one time. I was trying to talk to him about this. This was in 2001. And basically, that's what he come back. I was like, he was a good man. I probably should have said leader. Uh, and he said, well, ask Marilyn Monroe about that.
Yeah.
I really didn't get the connection at first because, like I said, who cares who's doing who? Maybe Jackie and John Kennedy might have had a problem,
Yeah.
but that was between them. And Marilyn Monroe, the hottest woman on earth at the time. Shit, I don't know if I could have passed that up or not. Probably not. I wouldn't have. But there again, I'm not the president of the United States either.
Yeah.
Look at Monica Lewinsky. All she got was a JB or a BJ. However that goes. And got made famous for it. Ugh, that's crazy. I wonder if she ever got married. Anybody ever hear?
Jackie?
No, Monica Lewinsky.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't keep up with that stuff. So. No idea.
Yeah, I don't either. I would, if I'd have been her, I'd have probably changed my name. Of course, I don't know. Maybe look at it from a female point of view, it would be, I got one on you, bitch, or something or other. Oh, if Hillary gets it for president, Monica could be in a world of shit.
Hmm.
Well, are we in here by ourselves? Oh, no, we're not by ourselves. Oh, that's
Maybe
Jim.
others will join shortly. So
They're going to join shortly. Okay.
yeah, maybe yeah.
I'll keep rattling on then. Uh, this guy, Nassim Harriman,
Yeah.
he he's got a lot on the ball, man. I mean, he's getting things done, and slowly but surely, it seems to be by the funding of the people. They had he's got a guy, a scientist employed by Nassim Harriman at this time
Yeah.
that a year or two ago worked at CERN,
Yeah.
and he quit working at CERN and went to work for Nassim Harriman.
Oh.
That is notable for sure. But when you got the promise of enough energy to run the entire planet for thousands of years, and it's within your grasp,
Yeah.
yeah, why not go for it? He's got the numbers to back it up, and the mainstream physics science department are beginning to come around to the way he's looking at things. Now, slowly, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, when you got a mainstream physicist working at CERN, quitting and going to work for him, you know, they can see things. Well, I guess we see the same things that they just can explain it in math, in physics. And physics seems to be the study, uh, and I may stand corrected here, the study of reality.
Yeah.
And reality seems to point, like everybody's familiar with Einstein's theory, E equals mc squared, or
Yeah.
squared. Well, this this guy took, you see that E equals mc squared, when he published it, it was only a theory.
Yeah.
And there was a guy at the same time, and he was fighting on the Russian front. I don't know if he was Russian or European, but he was injured, and he was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And while he was there, he solved Einstein's theory of relativity, I believe, and actually sent his handwritten paper to Einstein, and then he was killed 2 weeks later. And so Nassim, standing on the shoulders of these giants in physics, um, has
Yeah.
he's corrected some of their assumptions and some of their out and out fudges, where they fudged. But I guess we're off the air here. No, we're still live.
We're on the air, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, well, I got a captive audience here for a few more minutes, I guess. Um, these numbers, well, E equals MC squared, and so one of the things that that's saying is energy can never be destroyed. It only changes
Yeah, change the
form.
shape. Oh, yeah.
Changes form, yeah. And and from other studies of my own personal inquiries, um, has it that that our example is like Jesus Christ. He rose from the dead. He was in the same body, or maybe a glorified body. I can't remember for sure. But he was in another body,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then there's the question of reincarnation, where in the Book of Kings, I believe, um, Ezekiel is taken up, or Elijah, one of the, I think it's Elijah, is taken up in a fiery chariot, which is basically a UFO. In other
Yeah.
words, the guy couldn't explain, he didn't have no words for it. He just, well, then later on in the New Testament, I don't remember exactly where, but the uh, the disciples asked Jesus this question about Elijah, and he's supposed to come back before John the Baptist. And Jesus makes the comment that you all, now I'm paraphrasing, you all don't know it, but that John the Baptist is Elijah.
Hmm.
So that's some wild stuff.
Yeah.
I think my new router just got here.
Oh.
I'm hooked up by wire right now to my modem. That's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But we could talk again later
Yeah.
if you like. Or I
Hmm.
could just step in. I could step into the side chat for a while too.
Yeah.
And I'll keep an eye on it, man. If somebody's coming in, I'll jump back in.
Okay. Cool.
All right, now how am I going to do that? Just I don't hang up, do I? What do I do?
Yeah. You can call.
End
Yeah.
call? Just hang up?
Yeah. So if you got the invite, come on and join. I'll be right back. Hey, Eric. Okay. Can you hear me, Eric?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, there we go. I had to hook my turn my camera on.
All right, cool.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, yeah, there we go. I had to hook my turn my camera on.
I hear the YouTube.
Okay, hold on. I just tried that off. Okay, are we good now?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing to be on here. You know, I saw Graham and Ross in the chat room, I believe.
Yeah.
Shout out to them.
Phantom and Amy. Mr. Drew. Heather. And you're there. Kip and Tony. Everybody. So how you been doing?
Just hanging in there, trying to keep it 100, you know.
Yeah.
So, I've been doing some personal research, and I'm finding out that I think we've been bamboozled seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've been tricked, you know. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of Hegelian dialectics.
Mm.
I think I'm saying it right. Hopefully, I'm saying it right. Hegelian dialectics, where you pretty much put two opposing forces against each other, and then you sit back and wait for a predetermined solution.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just one of the art of war tactics, you know, of divide and conquer at its greatest level. But to pretty much play both sides, I think it's like Grimm had always been saying, if you're thinking that it's only one group or one set of individuals, like no, it's a whole lot of them, and they all playing both sides of the coins just to see how we respond to it.
Yeah.
So you know, I've also been looking at it's not where you say that, but it's what you say now, right? And a
Yeah.
lot of channels like ours are not
Here,
only
buddy.
being scanned for review, but they're
Yeah.
being scanned for later on when they knock on your door. They're gonna know that you
Yeah.
are against them. And I noticed that as long as the black conscious community is in debate between Moors and Hebrew Israelites, hey, that's what they want. As long as you got them two opposing forces fighting against each other, then we'll never be unified. So that's one of the perfect examples of Hegelian dialects is where you just have the black conscious community just choosing between a Moor or a Mason or whatever like that, and never really building the community. You know, that's cool with them.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much pulling off of here and getting off. I don't know if y'all gonna unsubscribe or whatever like that, but I'm not gonna continue to give them more data on me, knowing that they're using these tactics on us.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, because you got to just notice some stuff is allowed to be said and some stuff is not. Some stuff get red flagged and some stuff
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah. No,
gotta
no.
know it's being censored or it's being paid for by the program. So
Mm-hmm.
I I thank y'all for being honest. Being a true friend as much as possible. But that's just how I feel about it. I see the bamboozleness in it, and it's in everything.
Yeah. No. It is everywhere.
Yeah. With good and evil, God and the devil. They've been using these tactics on us for a minute, and we didn't even know it.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know it. So yeah, they playing both sides of the coin, and there's really no way for us to win. So you know, if you're gonna stay on here, Rebecca, just watch what you say where you don't threaten your family.
I know.
That's all I'm saying, Mark. Because stuff is coming down to the river now, and you really got to be careful. And like I said, if you're preaching division, if you're preaching separation and all that other kind of stuff, hey, that'll be cool. But as soon as you come with the truth, you're going to be tagged and bagged.
I know.
I'm
Yeah.
just noticing it because Grim talked about it, about algorithms. When you say certain words, your stuff get cut off. So I noticed he stay away from a lot of those subjects because he understand Haligam. Hegelian dialects too. I'm quite sure he do.
I just wanted to come on and say this is a momentous occasion in history right now for you because you know you nailed it with that keeping the black community separated with the Hegelian dialect.
Right.
I thought that was one of the most important things you said in a long time right now, right there. And that's so true because they got these Hebrew Israelites against the everybody's fighting each other, and it's
Right.
all bullshit, and it's all
Right.
perfect what you
And
said.
that's
I
what they
mean,
try to do to us on Google. The same tactics was used on us.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
and if you
especially
just apply
between
that,
me.
you apply that everywhere, like I saw you do. That's applied that to this situation that you saw yourself in a minute ago, and said, "Damn it, they're doing it here too." And to see a situation while you're in the situation as a paradigm is a momentous moment to mark on your calendar because that's the day you woke up.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
feel,
it is,
I
man.
feel that way,
Like
Grant.
you can literally say you have started to seriously wake up today.
I told one of my best friends that, like, you know what, I had a real awakening. Now I can really see You know, you know exactly what's going on, and I appreciate your consistencies in all of your areas. I really do. I really do. I ain't dick rod or nothing like that, but you have put in some stuff that I don't even hear in the black conscious community. You know, they just starting to talk about negalies and dead cells. So when I type negalies in there, the people that was in the black community said, "What in the world is that?" Like, you have no idea. So when I said where I got it from, oh, that's white science. It's like, see, there you go with that. You, it's everywhere,
I'm
Grandpa.
far from white science.
It has taken over. Don't nobody want to be together, big brother. You know, they're using those
Well,
tactics on us.
I do. I mean,
Yeah.
and I know there's lots of us out here, lots of you out here, lots of all of us out here. You know, it's just getting through the thick wall of the, you know, the comfort of the groups. Because there's comfort in numbers, man. They feel, you know, the support, no matter if they're wrong or right, it's support. You know, and we look like the enemy being outsiders of that support system. We're trying to be in the support system, but without supporting the irrational fallacies that go along with it. And we were deemed as the enemy at that time. And that's what I'm going through right now in this little community here that I've injected myself into, like a vaccine. You know, I've been called an energy vampire. I've got people who I've suspected were my friends that are making videos about me because I guess they don't understand the information, so they don't see the importance of it anyway. So discredit the guy putting it out there is no big deal to somebody who doesn't see the importance of the information that's being presented in the first place. I can
Right.
see that.
Don't kill the messenger.
Yeah. And, you know, bringing things personal, you know, all that kind of stuff, we don't need all that. You know what I mean? Let's
That's
do
right.
information. Sorry to even start that. I knew I shouldn't have came on. I wasn't.
But it was a good point because you know the 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 more I get to know you, the more I can understand where you're coming from. Sometimes when I'm speaking and you're throwing in a little sarcastic remark or whatever kind of remark, I sometimes I probably can't understand what you're saying. Uh, I can hear you, but I can't understand the words. And then I get a little flushed. And
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a natural thing when you expect that somebody's being if the stage has been set and you have a feeling that you're going to be ridiculed, then you're on guard, and I can understand that. I've been there. I do that. I'm still there. You know, I look for the subtleties as well, and it's and mistakes get made like that as well. But I mean, you know, being that
well,
said, just spend a little more time before we go on air to talk shit about each other, right? You know what I mean? And try to figure that out. Is that really the case? You know,
Right.
that's the thing. You know, and I appreciate you you saying that, buddy.
you're welcome.
Does help.
Yeah, as much you know, I'm 62 years old and I got a little hearing problem, and you know, it's just meant to be dealt with as I go along. Amen. Ra.
You know, just having respect for each other, you know, goes a long way. Because loyalty may run out, but respect can be consistent based upon the individual. Now, we
Good
may
word.
not be on here forever, but I can still respect you while I'm on here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to agree with everything you say, Tony, and I suspect, as you well know, I don't. But I don't disrespect you for it. You know.
Yeah, 'cause I'm just on a learning path anyway.
So are we all, and that's understood. That's what I know. I mean, it's just funny to watch, you know, accusations fly about me that they don't really. It's like, man, you know, if that was actual constructive criticism, I would accept it. Being that's not the case, though, it's more of a slanderous insult when I get told things about myself that aren't true in a lot of cases. by people who weren't even
have I
involved
done
in the
that?
situations that they've judged.
Have I done that?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay. All right, great.
not at all, Tony. I appreciate that about you, man.
You still see? I'm still running a 46, and you guys are into whatever it is they run nowadays. That's just an inside joke. My processor needs upgrading.
No, yeah, saying that you're not really. It's just a matter of perception because you weren't involved in the situation I was talking about. So really, sort of, I kind of maybe lost a lot of people when I started talking about that. But
Well, that's all right. Somebody knows what you're talking about.
that's what I meant it for. You them. Get that out there.
I got that.
How's the grandkids doing?
Well, she's
That's you,
asleep.
right?
Yeah, she's asleep. Yeah, and the
Granddaughter,
11-year-old is going on her first
I'm stupid.
sweetheart dance. I guess they had it planned for Valentine's Day, but this is the first chance they've got to do it. So she was all dolled up. Some new clothes, new shoes, the whole 9 yards.
Oh,
New
that's
dress. Yeah. But it was funny watching them do it all.
yeah. Sure. You guys remember did you I think the first year I didn't go to the dance in 9th grade or something.
Yeah.
But no, the first year I did. 10th grade I didn't. 11th grade I did. And 12th grade and all that shit. I didn't go to prom. None of that shit. But those little dances and stuff, those were, just good places to go get in trouble.
Yeah.
I
That's
just
what. Yeah.
from that type of shit. I had plenty of dates outside of the dances. Didn't need to go there to get in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. These are 5th graders. They're not allowed out of the.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. See that?
They're chaperoned and not allowed. They're blocked off. What do you need? Okay. Where is it? I don't know.
Hey, Grim, so being that I got you on here, Tony and Rebecca, I guess I can go ahead and get some
Robert.
questions before the virus kicks in. So,
Are you on your microphone? Are you on your good microphone or what?
I'm on the best thing that I got in the house right now that's actually working.
Good, okay.
So I'm gonna keep my statements short. So we're dealing with emotions right now, and we seem to be some emotionally driven people. So where is a safe point at for us, Grim, where we can communicate, where we don't get too emotionally overspent over current events?
Well, I think if we stay respectful to each other and our ideas, a lot of that communication problem would be dissolved.
Look up there, Ellen.
It's a problem of respect for each other and others that we all have at times that causes these inflations of ego and all this kind of stuff and psychosis in the people. So I think if we could just learn to be a little more respectful in communication, and maybe like if you hear something about someone, how about ask the person what's going on before you actually make a judgment on it? Things like that. Not you personally, but we all, And I think, the miscommunications and the, because a lot of the anger is justified from the one that's been done wrong, But see, anger's still anger. It all looks ugly after the end of the day. So I mean, if we could try and avoid disrespecting each other initially is the best thing. If you hear an idea, this is a community where you're going to hear a lot of ideas that don't usually mesh with mainstream. So if you're getting a lot of, wow, you're fucking crazies from people who say that they're open-minded and da-da-da and doing good communication, then you're really not speaking with people who say or are who they say they are. So
Right.
it's, start pointing that kind of stuff out, then you're making rifts in a community, but all you're doing is saying, how come no one is who they say they are?
Right. Right. Some type of accountability, right?
So I mean,
I would have used a different screen name if I could have, instead of my real name. You know.
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Nice genuine flavor to it.
Is it English? Snodgrass.
Not a yeah. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. You ever heard of anybody
Definitely
over there
sounds
named Snodgrass?
English, but then again, I don't. Could be
Yeah.
something that was Jewish and now it's trying to hide, like from Hammerstein to Hammer, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Chinese. Snodgrass.
Or not Jewish, any other, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to put it out because there's negative intonations to that or anything.
I don't know, man. I've been hearing a lot of bad things about Jewishness. I mean, I don't know if anybody here is Jewish, but and I'll drop the subject that there is, but
No, if anybody was, they would already have been talking about fucking something on your ass about that. Because, yeah.
Man, I've just seen a lot of really gross stuff about back in Moses' day. They got a Toran. Is that the Jewish or is that the Muslim?
Torah. The Torah.
The Torah. They got the Torah, right? The Jews got the Torah.
Well, they also have the Talmud.
Yeah, the Talmud, man.
And yeah, that's before the Torah.
Yeah, I saw some crazy shit. There again, that was online, but I sure would like to see a English translation of that book.
No doubt. You know, because the biggest
Well,
thing.
you've heard of the stories of Gilgamesh and everything, right? That's part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's Saturn and Jupiter and the Earth and Venus and Mars, Venus the comet. It's all about the electric universe. It literally is, except it's being personified and all this kind of stuff, and calling the planets gods or whatever, but or making them out as deities.
Right.
In reality, they're just fucking planets. Gilgamesh eating the babies and all of that, being Saturn taking back some of the planets that it had, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Had produced or whatever.
Yeah,
There's a theory out there about
Saturn
once being a brown dwarf star, and Earth and Saturn being captured by the sun when the heliosphere, discharged from Saturn's plasma sheath.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty interesting theory with a lot of detail from archetypes found all over the world, telling the same story of a time, more ancient than our religions and all of that good fun stuff.
Yeah, well, how about the Emerald Tablets? Have you looked into those at all?
How do you want to start that subject?
Right.
Well, how about where they were found? It's my understanding they were found under an Inca or the other guys, Maya temple, under an altar in a pyramid in a temple.
And I mean, what do you want to know?
Is that what you've heard?
Similar.
Yeah.
How about the carbon dating or however they did it? Carbon dates them at around 36,000 years, and they're very similar to the New Testament.
I've never really read those tablets, but you say it's like a version of the New Testament.
there's been s- there,
Testament.
there's been several translations done. Sir Isaac Newton was one that pops to mind right at the moment.
Okay.
That there are some similarities in the text of the Emerald Tablets and the New Testament.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no doubt because you have a lot of copywriters out there.
Yeah, but
If I
see,
can say it like that.
they didn't find these Emerald Tablets until around Newton's time. What, 500 years ago?
Mhm.
And so it would be kind of hard to. Well, there would have been a lot of work done to to change that text and make it make sense, which it doesn't really to me. But um, not in the way you would, not in the mainstream. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't go along with their interpretation. That's why I claim, I'm just not a part of it.
Right.
Well, I hope not, because just to give you a little idea of one of the reasons why is, the translation was solely through the Brotherhood of the White Temple, and that's what you're getting is that translation anyway,
Right.
and so there's the Great White Lodge that you need to be dealing with. This is all Freemasonry, brother.
Right.
This shit is all Freemason scramble for your brain. It's to try and reiterate or re-solidify the findings of the Bible, Bible bullshit, and to give you the idea that Atlantis was an island instead of the whole planet. I mean, just to sum it up, I know there's like so many different other things that I can get into
Yeah.
on this
Yeah.
stuff. But
Rabbit
that's
holes
one of those
everywhere.
Freemason fucks that fucking put this shit out here for us, man.
Right.
This is
That's the facts. That's the facts.
as a matter of fact, it was done in 1925.
That's when they were discovered.
No, that's when that's when the permission had been given for this translation by Doreel to be
Yeah,
published
that's it.
solely through the Brotherhood of the White Temple.
That's his translation.
Right.
See, but there was others that translated it from the time of Newton forward. Yeah, well, yeah, I see
That's
what you're
what I'm
saying.
saying is this. What I'm saying is this thing is fake.
Straight like that.
I mean, simple as that. It's fake. Just
Straight
like the Bible's fake. Just like all that shit is fake to get you to believe in gods, man, and to get you to believe that you're a sinner
No.
and that you're no good, and that and that there's an Atlantis. It's
Because if
it's
you
a little
believe in stuff, that means you
island.
don't know.
Then it's a little island, instead of the whole world. You're looking too small instead of the giant focus.
Right.
Look anywhere on the planet and you'll find evidence of Atlantis. People don't realize that. Just say that to people. That's when you need to, when you realize, why is it that we find technology that's so far advanced beyond anything we could have ever done that's 1,000,000 years old in Iraq and Alaska? Or why do we find it? Because the whole world was Atlantis.
Yeah,
We
because
have this technology and shit all over the planet.
they
And
found
us living in little places and acting silly and thinking one religion's better than another, and they're all equally as silly
that they found
or good at the same time. That prayer does work, but it's through the intent of the focus of there's actual energy of the human being.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's so crazy how everything's stolen from us, and we think at this time, like you were talking about Nassim Harris and stuff. we've got other guys who have peer-reviewed published papers that have debunked the theory of relativity already. We should be talking to them, pointing at them. I mean,
Well, I'd rather talk to somebody that has solved the theory of relativity. And
well,
somebody
how about there's no solving something that's not real in the first place. That's the point. Math does nothing but art at that point.
Come on, Google, stop playing with me.
Math is nothing but art at that point. When you say you're your Ricky tensor, or you're starting with the the famous equation that is supposed to give you your anything, dude. It's theory of relativity. At first, you have nothing. I mean, you have zero body, zero source. I mean, it says it right there in the equation. Zero body and zero source. There's no. You can't say with a phrase outside of source in the next line over in paragraph, implying that there's a body. Because now you're crossing yourself. You're contradicting yourself. First you said there's no body and no source. Now you're saying right outside of source, which implies there's a body. So you can't do that shit. And they do that, and it's all good. It's games, man. Anyway, Stephen Crothers works out all the math in detail for you, and so because you can't just do this on a silly hangout like this. It's a book full of fucking math.
Right.
So you need to look that shit up, learn that shit, because then people like Nassim can't really fool you by mixing up the answers, saying that he solved the theory of relativity. There's no solving it, because it's all a lie in the first place. It only works as a description at best for minimum of things. You can't like black holes and all that kind of shit. To singularity. First off, what's a singularity event? It means nothing exists outside of it. So how many of those exist and us?
only
Only
one that I know
black
of.
holes all over the place. How we got all them singularity events all over the place? That don't make any damn sense at all.
How about the Big Bang? That was a singularity event.
Well, the Big Bang too, right?
A double black hole.
Also be so two black holes can't even exist in the same Big Bang universe, no matter what you say.
The
Yeah, but
double
you
black
math doesn't
hole.
allow it.
there was nothing outside, and you're trying to make something out of nothing. That's what you said a while ago.
Yeah, you got to look up.
Right. So
you
where
gotta look
did
up
the
Stephen
where
Crothers,
did the
man.
math, where did
The
the
Ricky
math
tensor. The Ricky tensor is what's used. It's a mathematical equation. It's called the Ricky tensor, and what it does is it is the tool used to describe what the theory of relativity is all about in the first place.
where does
So
the
it's one
mass
of the-
and the
it's
energy
similar-
have a big bang? Where did
See,
it
this
come
isn't the
from?
kind of conversation. We really need to have this kind of conversation off air before it sounds weird, because this is different. This is more of a learning thing, like not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll start turning real Hegelian.
Yeah.
Start putting them two opposing forces together, and then we have
No, there's
nothing.
no poison force really, other than opinion force. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They
I don't
they,
want
they
to
can
fight
be
opinion
opposing
force
forces.
right now.
Two
I
opinions.
just explained exactly what should have registered as a big win right there to him, and he should have realized it. Oh, the Ricky tensor, right? So we're already now talking about the basis, the very fundamental thing. Going anywhere from there is only abstract at that point. That is the deal. That is the law of the math itself. I've nailed it. Now you can't go anywhere from there. So now if we start abstracting the question in a different way, now it's only going to be antagonistic and argumentative. Because at this point, if you don't know what the Ricky tensor is, then you basically can't have this conversation yet. It's too deep right now. And that's why I sound rude, and that's why it makes me sound like I know it all and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is I do. Not all, but that. And now it's pretty much done, but it's not recognized as done yet. And I don't want it to turn into something that it doesn't need to be.
Right.
So.
In layman terms, he was saying there's too many facts to be proving that shit on a hangout.
Okay.
No big deal.
On that. Yeah, do some together backroom research
Yeah,
together.
Yeah.
another time I'll show you all the links and all the stuff, the books
You
that we
know,
can
that's
read.
how
You
you
know.
do that. 'Cause eventually, Graham, we're gonna have to grow up if you're gonna try to stay on here, you're gonna have to grow up. You know, and get better at doing it. You know,
I
because
know.
we can't be overcome by the outside. We gotta, you know what I'm saying. We gotta make sure we're doing our shit right, where we don't confuse each other as well as the audience.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to do right now.
You ain't gonna deal with it. Just man enough and woman enough to put a stop to that shit. Put the stop up. We're not gonna deal with that and move on to something else. That's
Right.
it.
And I know exactly what you mean right now too. You know, not this situation at all, really at all. I know what you're saying, or at least I'm applying it to something that resonates with me.
I am too.
I know you are, son.
They used to call
Just
me.
said he was 62 years old, so how inappropriate was that? My bad, dude.
You're making them feel young again, right?
Well, yeah, well, he knows how that is. People with kids say something too much, and sometimes it sounds harsh when it shouldn't have been said.
Yeah, I've done that once or twice myself.
That's our comfortability, Greg.
Yeah, well, when you do it to me, it's totally different. I mean, I wouldn't even take offense to it at all like that. I'm not sure that you're not my dad, so I couldn't even say shit.
Right.
Who the hell am I to say? No.
Is Becky home? Alright, you guys. My new router just got here.
Woohoo!
I'm going to bail because I'm hooked up, got all these wires running everywhere. It's a wireless router. And
Alright.
I don't know how long. It might be easy and it might not.
Oh yeah,
So
probably should only take you a few minutes.
I'll catch up. I hope
catch
it
you
only
later,
takes
man.
a few minutes. Got to install the software and all that crap.
Oh yeah, all right.
All right. See you as soon as possible.
Right
All
on.
right.
Well,
Catch you later.
Later.
Catch you later.
Did I take your line, Becky? Catch you later.
Nah.
I stole it. I think our handler, Lost Horizon, wrote the same script for both of us.
No.
Catch you later.
Um,
Oh, that's just my handler. I mean, that's what I heard recently. Damn it. Are we still live? I totally forget. I really do. I really did. Again. I wasn't even gonna mention it again. You know, it's hard not to mention something that really hurts your feelings, though. You know what I mean? So, you gotta forgive me if you can.
yeah. The truth's supposed to hurt.
It ain't the truth, dude.
Right, I know
Being
that.
lied about by your friends is not fucking supposed to feel good either.
Right. That's what I'm saying. How dare you say somebody is a COINTEL programmer on here as much as real stuff you put out. Realism outweighs all of that bullshit.
Exactly, man. Thank you. I mean, before you say anything, oh, never mind. Damn it. I'm not gonna say nothing. Fucking shut up. I haven't talked to you privately about any of this yet, so I don't want to surprise you with a bunch of new information, put you on the spot with anybody, you know.
But
Contrary to popular belief, man, I've been told that I've already had huddles and fucking been conspiratorizing on somebody.
you've been hanging out with Alex Jones.
Yeah, I'm trying to get somebody's shit shut down and all that kind of shit, and I've been told all this weird shit, you know, by somebody I fucking share their shows and fucking contribute to their shows and, you know, go on their shows and fucking bring great topics to their shows. I've been told by them are great topics as well, so to sit there and go rehash and reback and back up and say all I ever do is vampire him and all this kind of shit is really ridiculous. Even to mention my name on a live hangout and not even, you know, asking me or directly wanting to know the details of anything he's judged in the first place, just hearsay and all of that kind of shit. That shows a level of irresponsible fucking reporting right there, especially on the subjects that I'm working on, man. It's not as if I'm talking about ice cream flavor type bullshit, or just, it's not as if I watch the BBC every day and tell you the banks are bad and the Jews are bad every day. I mean, I'm not doing stupid shit like that. I'm actually, and a matter of fact, I think that's all he ever does, is that exact shit I just talked about. But the point is, that ain't what I wasn't killing him about it. I might mention the fact that, you know, I don't see enough getting talked about on the issues that are more important as far as fucking people's direct line to health, you know, shit like that. The mandatory vaccines and the implementing of the, you know, laws that restrict you from being able to sue for, you know, malpractice on these vaccine deliveries and shit from these doctors. There's all kinds of things that are so much more important than just telling somebody, wow, you still have a banking account, no less, that the banks are bad, you know, every day.
Yeah, it's more to it.
Clowns, man.
More to it. And like I said, Graham, they don't even worry about you as long as you stuck in that one paradigm. You know, they'll just put a check next to your name as list as important or unimportant. You know, but
Yeah.
I suggest that you just keep on doing your own secular personal thing, because in the long run it's gonna be needed way more when all this other stuff crash and all this other shit is done.
Yep.
Your work is going to shine way more than all of the bullshit. Why? Because it is directly affecting the people. And this is the stuff I like to deal with. What really effectively directs the people. You know,
Thank you.
and all of this stuff is emotionally driven, because don't nobody want to be vaccinated and die and you know, have your baby coming out all deformed and all fucked up. So we got to deal with the shit and give the people as much facts and as much help as possible.
That's right.
You know,
Thank you. And word.
yeah, man, keep on hammering in on your stuff, man. Go in as far as you can go in on your vaccinations or whatever like that shit. I wish you had a lab where you could do your own shit, to be honest.
You know, I wished I did too. I really do. Excuse me.
You know, your own team of people where you can really, you know, really be a good director, rather be a director or navigator as far as what would really need to be put out. You know, can you even create a vaccine without dead necklace? You know, without any dead cells? Is there such thing? Can a cure be created without dead cells?
Nope. A cure maybe, but a vaccine, bad word or terminology. We don't need to stick that in our blood. That's the whole thing, man. They got it all backwards. They got us thinking about the germ theory in the wrong way, and that's the whole problem. That's just like black holes. They trick us with the original comment, and then from there on, you're fucked. And you try to figure out all the cures and ways to work around things and everything. All you can do is occasionally get close with renormalization. That means going outside of what the original program was meant to be in the first place, which means this shit ain't right in the first place.
Right.
And that's how we end up with breakthroughs in medicine and all that shit, because it'll be a renormalization. It'll be something totally different. And that's because it doesn't work with the program. And then they try to relabel it and rename it to fit said paradigm program. You know, and that way it doesn't have to shake and break the actual program and the fundamentals of the bullshit lie in the first place. It's always about that. They've been doing that to us in every area of science that there are. As a matter of fact, that's why we have so many areas of science, to compartmentalize the information and keep things from synchronizing, keep you from that synergy, that keep you away from understanding why electricity and magnetism should never be separate, because they come one and the same. That's why you think light has a speed instead of an induction rate, because you don't understand field perturbations and field dynamics. They don't teach you that. So we don't understand anything. And we run around thinking we're so smart, telling people, look, another black hole, spreading the lie, you know, talking about theory of relativity as if it's real, talking about all this shit that doesn't make any sense, because why? Comfort in numbers. Everybody else talks about the same shit, repeat and repeat, comfort, Affirmation, even for nothing. It's nothing. And that's all this is. False sense of securities, affirmation, comfort numbers, fucking cult mentality we're dealing with.
And it's like the research keeps that shit alive because you keep searching the lie.
So it's the best thing for me to do is to go and look for the root of the problem. Don't keep looking at every individual problem out there that keeps happening stemming off of something else. Why? Try and see what's holding it together in the first place. Isn't that what anyone would do? Right? I would imagine. Look, there's a tree, and the tree keeps on attacking me. What do I want to do? The tree, it's dropping branches everywhere on our kids all the time. Chop that motherfucker down.
Right.
Don't go and trim one of the branches. If for some irrational reason another one falls on your other kid, I mean, unless you got so many kids, you just don't know what to do. Living in the shoe.
Use the trees and knock them off.
You guys go play under that damn tree or something. Equivalent to go run out in the street comment. No, but seriously, I go off on some weird tangent.
Right.
I'm saying there's trouble in the forests, and it started with the trees. Oh shit, we're alive. Yeah, again.
It's
Booby
good
trap.
when it's live, man. They need to hear it, man. They need to hear it. And let's stop all of this fake family and all this fake shit, and let's just be real individuals.
See, and that's why it's so easy to hate me. Because when I come right out and I say, hey, I'm not here to make friends, well, immediately a cult-minded person thinks, oh, well, then he's here to make enemies. Because there's only one or the other. Everything is fucking, what do you call it? Binary.
Right.
It's always a binary A or B fucking answer.
Right.
So, of course, if I say something like that, so to me, I still do it anyway because it helps me see who's the fucking free thinkers and who's not.
Right.
It's not great for making friends. It's not great for all of that. But, I mean, you see what's going on. And so it's really easy to say, hey, I don't like that guy. I mean, he says right there that he's got a big ego. Well, it's sort of humble of me to even say that, wouldn't you say? Fucker. People don't register what's being done to what's being said.
Right. And what does ego got to do with my information?
Well, anyway,
the way I see it.
What is ego but just, something you have that's like to use against somebody to say, oh, you have an ego or whatever. Because in reality, if you go to somebody who says something like me, I'll say, theory of relativity isn't correct, and we got some people who've shown you this with math and everything, and you go, ha, pseudoscience retard. And then I say, dude, I'll bust you in your fucking mouth. And then you go, well, look at your ego. Wasn't your scoff in the first place the ego?
Right.
Isn't my response to you just a natural response to your attack? It's already an attack. You see what I mean? But see, it doesn't get registered as that for some reason. It gets registered as, no, you're the one with the big ego. You know why? Because you admitted it. And so now it's easy. See, I didn't ever admit it. I have one, so I don't have one. It's weird. It's like people don't see what's really going on in a fucking situation.
Right. Sleepwalkers, man. That's what happens. Sleepwalking.
And then they get this mad feeling at you still. Okay, even I was wrong, I still hate you. Whatever.
Well, even after you need me in the balls, you can apologize.
Oh no, yeah, don't even go there. Motherfuckers. First thing you want to do is they want to punch you in the mouth, and then when you punch them back, or you block it and you punch them back,
right?
You knock them in the fucking head a couple times. Then they get to calling the police, like you started it. Like, why are you calling the police? What in the fuck? Start a fight with me, and then call the police when I come out there to whoop your ass.
Right.
Or just point at only point out the evil doings that I did in that situation, even though I didn't initiate them. So to me, in my retrospect, nothing I did counts. That's all blanked out. Everything is on you.
Right.
Everything you got, no matter how crazy and irrational I went from that point on. But that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
You come at me with your passive aggressive, that sneaky bullshit. And sorry about that, but I just did it again. I went right back into it.
It again.
But like I said, yeah, it's hard not to when your feelings are hurt, man.
But you know, I think you deal with a lot of facts. You know, you put your work in, and the people that need your ideas, you know, they are the ones that are drawn to you, like me myself. You know, because I ain't gonna trust nobody else information with vaccines and all of that shit. I'm gonna call you up. You know what I'm saying? Because I got a relationship with you. You know, I'd rather come to you and speak to you before I go to a doctor and be like, Grizzy, let me run this by you real quick. What do you think? And, you know, whether if your opinion has value or
I might
not.
say something. Yeah, I might say something. Look that up.
Right. Share a link with a brother or, you know, anything like that before you go letting them stick you with shit and have your body all messed up when you come back home.
Yeah, good shit, man. I was reading in your chat just now. They're in there talking about wood ashes and stuff for you know, adding good minerals, you know, and nitrogen and shit to the soil.
Because I was thinking, Grim, that I was checking out how you and Lost, how y'all get down on the show together, how y'all do the tag team thing, and I just love the experience, how y'all don't even mention the negative aspects. Y'all push everything that is positive about that negative, and before you know it, you'll forget about the negative aspect of the situation, and all you're thinking about is the cure or the healing part of the problem. And that's what I love how y'all do that, and I appreciate y'all putting in the work to tag team.
Well, I just heard recently that she was my handler, man, and we're like FBI agents or something. From some people that I actually support or supported, you know, help make sure everybody get to their new channel because they're getting harassed by your fuckers, you know, mean to people named Brother John and stuff. Even the wrong guy. I was mean to a different guy named Brother John, you know, because I fell for the old, you know, the guy was trying to get Kip's channel taken down, so fuck him thing, you know. So this guy, other guy named Brother John, just pops around. I'm like, you're that fucking guy not getting his channel down, motherfucker. He's like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't know, you know. And you know, but I waited too long to get to that point, so we were like quiet and shit for too long. Anyway, point being is, you know, I didn't expect that.
Yeah. I know I found out something about myself because, you know, I went to the black community, saw that on TV, and they had Red Pill on there talking about a community financial upbringing, and I found myself being a follower in the chat room because everybody else was negative about his plan, but then after the show was over with or after I got off, I began to think about myself like, you know what, Eric, the only reason why you was negative towards his financial plan is because you broke. So when he said you got this poverty thinking in your mind or thinking of you always got to be poor, and then when you bang back on him like, why are you talking about us like that to these degrees? It's only because if I had money, I probably would be like, yeah, I'm able to donate, I'm able to give, but because I don't. See, we got to check our own jealousy, our own envy, because in some cases, because I'm not dealing with a subject, or in some cases, because I'm not in a financial situation, therefore anger is created, or an emotional turmoil is created within oneself to lash out because you are not a have in this situation, but you are a have not.
Yeah, so it's hard not to sublimate, you know, or project in some cases. And as long as you're looking for that stuff, you know what I mean, it's easier to maintain, I think. It's all about practicing in itself and shit. But yeah, I mean, I agree, you know.
Yeah. You know, because the first thing response that come out at you is like, man, fuck that $30 a week, or fuck that this, that, and the third. You know, for one thing, you probably mad because you ain't come up with the idea. First of all, mad because you ain't come up with the idea.
Right? That's funny.
You ain't
No,
got no financial backing for your idea. You know,
yeah, sublimating means you're mad at yourself.
right?
know,
Exactly.
Secret little thing. You projecting your anger onto someone else.
Terrible.
They don't deserve it. You know what I mean?
Right. Like I said, man, I had another awakening, Grizzly, and this one is the real one. That's how I feel right now. This one is a definitely high. I was looking for advanced thinking. Shit, I got it now.
So what do you think?
It is. See through all of the bullshit.
So what do you think? Getting a bunch of a boat community together, where everybody comes out and we'll bring a couple floating docks each out to a few miles off of the, you know, out in international waters, and put together some floating docks or whatever, you know, maybe make it even safer and drop some shark nets or something around, you know,
Yeah.
you know, and have a little swimming pool and area right there. You know what I mean? Just hanging out and living there on.
Water, we free. It's international waters, and we covered by an international treaty.
Yeah.
No one's gonna pull up to you and tell you you can't smoke weed or grow weed. Like,
Right.
why are you growing weed on your boat? Yeah, man. and we leave one docks or two docks or whatever out there. You know what I mean? And you know, anchored or whatever if need be. If you're allowed to. If you're not allowed to, we'll leave a person on it, and it's called a boat classification. You know what I mean? And then come back to the dock, grab supplies or something, shit like, you know, whatever. Storms come in or whatever, and fucking hit the land side or whatever. All kind of shit. So.
Yeah.
And
And another one, Graham. I know we want to save the people and stuff like that, but we got to get back into keeping secrets, because everything ain't for everybody, and some people not receiving the information the way we giving it out. So
I know, and they're running around killing our links and shit and giving
Right.
us.
Yeah.
See, it's something now. It's getting weird because, you know, a lot of times you got a link or something that you can't find anywhere, and it's got the one published paper, and then it's still posted on, you know, one of the, you know, and you turn around and give it to the wrong person, and tomorrow the link disappears somehow. The
Yeah,
fucking sites shut down and all this kind of shit. So it's kind of weird, man. That, you know, you want to post out all that good information, but it's like there needs to be some sort of a litmus test or something that you have with the community first. You know, they really got to infiltrate you. I don't know. I'm just saying, we need to learn how to protect these links, man.
Yeah.
Protect this information because it's disappearing on us. Anybody's worth their salt and shit. I'm just kidding. Worth their weight in salt. You know, they search for things and they're disappearing and stuff all the time. You know, good information, good artistic views. You know, constructive type shit stuff.
You know,
Sorry.
once in a lifetime stuff, man. You know, once in a lifetime stuff. You know, because right now we're in a legacy mode, whether people want to accept it or not. It's like what you're leaving behind. You know, because if you've already established yourself, and then you don't hear, it's pretty much an early legacy for me, because I'm pretty much out of here due to technicalities. You know, I want to put out some good work, some better work, but YouTube placements are strange to me. You know,
Yeah, you're right, man. You know, I thought it was going to be a lot easier than this. I thought people were going to be real with you. You know, I would get a reflection of what I am. I was thinking it was going to be like that. bunch of people like me out here and be easy to deal with. You know?
Expect
Hey, we're all different.
They don't know when you're kidding. They don't know when you're serious. They don't care half the time if it's important. There's jokes want to be made. Everything's for fun. There's too much silliness. I thought this was more important to people. You know, turns into something weird.
It started off like that.
I know, but I just didn't pay attention, I guess. I was more of a YouTube video maker than a YouTube Google watcher, you know, at first. So, you know, I ended up with 1,000 subs before I even got on fucking Google.
It was like the friendly fire killed us.
Got on Google, like, whoa.
You know, I mean, when you're at war, you know who your enemy is. But when the friendly fire, you know, that's just what I think, Grim. The friendly fire what killed us.
It is, man. A lot of times. Shit, we slung a couple slingshots at each other. Lightweight. I mean,
right?
Warning shots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Trying to feel people out. We got to feel each other out too. I think that's something to do with human nature. We want to test our limits just to make sure, you know, you do that with people you love the most too.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. Like,
make sure they love you. You know what I mean? Like, if you love me, then you're really going to deal with this, and you don't even realize you're subconsciously creating that problem to do a test on somebody because of your own inadequacies or insecurities and our own.
You find out who you can go to war with.
Yeah, you're damn right. Nobody's going to be able to sway your opinion in a heartbeat because you know my lively, you know, from a lifetime of knowing. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm all about. So one little idea is not going to stop you from protecting yourself and us together. You know what I mean?
That's the facts.
Not without a questioning and you know, confrontation. You know what I mean? In the first place, you can't. Nobody leaves each other without you know, a question or a confrontation or make a judgment. I don't pass judgment on a person without asking the person if they fucking did it.
Right.
Because a man wouldn't do that. That's not a manly thing to do.
You're right about that.
That's basically all I need to say, Kip.
Man.
And crew.
I got Jack from my lighter.
You know what? I forgot. Lost Horizon has her own milling machine too. All that kind of shit. She was just talking about making bread from her own wheat selection.
What part of town she resides in? If you know.
That old Michigan part.
Oh, Michigan. She down there in Flint. She down there by Flint.
Particulars I can't get involved in on
Okay.
the air, but you know, she probably wants to be near water.
Okay, that's cool. Shit. I was watching a documentary earlier on Detroit where they said back in the early 60s, Detroit was the financial place to be, even though it was factory-wise. It was, you know, it was polluted pretty much, but they made a lot of money, you know, down in the early Detroit days. And indeed, they was popping.
Industrial. Back in the day, and shit was industrial like a mo. Everything was pumping. Everything just shut down. I mean, we quit making the cars, didn't we? Motor City.
Motor City, right. Motor City.
Motor City got bad gas. Sorry, I don't know.
They got methane gas.
Got horrible teams, got fucked up fucking infrastructure. The whole place sucks.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not there.
It's fucked up. Yeah, no doubt.
The only good thing y'all got out there is weed half the time. And
Right.
that's expensive, you know, as hell out there.
Yeah, and that was pretty much what the documentary was about. Two gangsters plus Big Meech was putting in their work, and I just leave it right there. 'Cause I don't want to get nobody no copyright because I know how tight these things be now.
If we put our own beat to it.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what I find out though, Graham? That it's our own people that's flagging us. It's not Google or YouTube. I found out that it was a homie flagging a homie, and I'm just like, really? Are we that afraid, or are we trying to protect that much? You know.
What the fuck? Who flagged who?
Well, it was a thing in the
Oh,
community
is this
where
an off-air topic?
no. I can go ahead and say it. It's a brother named Polite that talked about status correction, and he was charging people $650 or $550 for status correction papers. So you would send your money in through PayPal, but you wouldn't hear from a motherfucker for weeks to a month, right? Shit like that. So he would end up giving people their money back and different things like that, and just having problems, getting either getting your paperwork or getting your money back. So they put a word out on them calling a scam. So dude made a video, and when he uploaded it, Brother Polite flagged his shit and got his channel taken down. So I said, damn, because I didn't know how to flag shit work. So once I saw his video, I got an understanding of how you get down with it.
You get the account, and some little information on to see who did that shit to you.
But yeah, it's just like, as long as they got you choosing back and forward, and then it's like, bro, Polite did say one good thing in one of them debates. He said, we talk about black unity, but we got all these different factions.
Fighting each other.
Debating over who is God and who is first and who is second and who is indigenous to this and what European that and what, it's just like now they're about to have a debate with a Jewish white guy, right? They said, well, you're always debating black guys. Now you got a white guy on there, right? So the black community like, yeah, bang on that cracker, whatever like that. It's just like, yo,
that's
really?
The real cracker. That's the real cracker. The one who
the
deserves
one,
the cracker. That's the one.
Heard is the one. He's the one that everybody is mad at. So it's just like I said, the Hegelianism is terrible. It's just like the people there. That's why I had to pull back and pull off altogether, because at the end of it, they always say, buy my shirt, buy my hoodie, or buy my this, or buy my that, or go fund me. It's never go fund us.
All of those organizations bought and sold slaves.
Yeah, man. George Soros is paying for everything.
Black Israelites, all of them, every single one of them, bought and sold slaves. Moroccan, Arabs, the Moors, all of them. So and the Jews, and all of them all get along, because they were all buying and selling slaves too. It's commerce. They're just working together, right. And that's why there are other Jews and those other Jews, and they're all still Jews, right?
Right. So, like I said, as long as they got you fighting or whatever like that, the one guy that's controlling everything sit back and laugh.
It's not about black or white or Jew or not. It's the royals and the money, higher end,
about that.
And the rest to just suffer it or benefit lightly from from edges of it, but they're not like ultimately running anything, and neither are the actual Jews that are having the systems that they get to enjoy the privilege of right now. And it's all privilege,
right?
Anything but it's not a right, it's not a unalienable. The whole thing is about privilege, and because of understanding and conditioning to the people about religion in the first place, so you feel always thinking that they're the chosen ones and you got to protect them, and they get to keep getting away with all this shit. It's real simple.
Right.
It's fucking silly.
Right.
I'll be right back, though. I got to take care of something real quick.
Hey, Rebecca.
Hey.
Yeah. See, it's like we have been bamboozled to get into the black and white thing. See, this evil this evil hooliganism. I'm gonna get this word right one of these days.
It's aliens.
Yeah, that motherfucking word. That shit is so fucking diabolical. Is
Mm.
that when you look in the oldest dictionaries and you look up the word, remember how I did the video about what white and black means? All right, that was due to Webster's translation. But when you really look up the real oldest dictionaries, you'll find out that they was talking about status and nationality,
Mhm.
not about some color. But see, because they use the same shit, to do the trick booking, to bamboozle everybody, to start a black and white war when it was never about black and white as a color. It's always been about national status,
Mhm.
owning territory based upon those statuses. You know, so that's why black can't be a status because or nationality because it's a color.
Mhm.
You know, you have to have land, and black people don't have no land. But Africans do. It's all about status. That's why they try to say you're African American. Like, no, I'm just an American because I was born in America. I have the birthright, and I dare not sell it. We're talking about birthrights here. We are indigenous to this land because we docked here. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
our
color status thing. Yeah, man, it's so confusing to people for some reason because everyone wants to relate to an emotion first, and the race
right.
thing is such an emotional thing to relate to. It's real easy to try and implement that thought onto others, and it can be a really great tool to manipulate folks with, obviously, because you can see how the dichotomies work and the, you know, you know, you know,
Yeah,
the
Grandma.
old, the old
I think I got
routine,
one eye. I think I got one eye open, bro.
Yeah, it's the Hegelian dialect routine, the
Yeah,
dichotomy, basically the same thing. It's one
it
off the
should
other
help
all the
set me
time.
free, man. It should
Break up
help
the
set me
power
free.
and to, make the big groups smaller. And they always want to focus on the bigger group and then make them smaller.
Right.
Or,
Because
create two groups out of someone who would have never been in two different groups in the first place. You know what I
right.
mean? As is the case is in this.
That
As is
that
this.
that
Yeah.
go right with your post you did earlier about J. Edgar Hoover, because in some of that document it talks about a raising of a black messiah, or raising of a messiah. But
Yeah,
see,
man.
they ain't really worrying about one person ruling. They worrying about everybody having a collective thinking. That's why the division is so heavy.
You
Because
can
if we
see how
all
that's a mirror. That's a mirror to the Romans creating false opposition,
right,
Jesus as their Messiah. You see,
right,
it's a mirror to the story. They keep playing the same dichotomy over and
over
over
and
and
over again.
over, so they could say, "Now look, Rome fell. No one rules you anymore. You're now all free. Look." And then who's free? Who ever felt free? You know what I mean? When you turn around and look at what's really going on, you realize you ain't never been told the truth.
Right, you ain't never gonna be free. Right,
It might not be as rash as it was
right,
in one way or another, but in another way it is. If when you start realizing what it is you actually could have, then it's worse. It feels worse.
right. Exactly.
When you don't realize that there is anything else out there, I'm sure it's a lot, ignorance is bliss. It's a lot easier to deal with. But when you know that, the oil is actually abiotic, it's not a fossil fuel, and all that shit should be free, and the world should never have to suffer for energy crisis ever. No one should. We shouldn't have to be cram-packed living in these fucking horrible situations that we live in the way we do. We shouldn't be running around having to fucking, leave our kids in different type of places and babysitters and type of shit because we can't afford to pay our own fucking rent because it takes so many hours to pay the bills and all it's
Right,
nothing equals to what we put out, and especially since the things that we do are equal, you know, 10 times the amount of what it used to equal these days with technology that we're using. We should be getting paid more as a fucking, byproduct of that. And we don't, or as a result, but we don't. We actually get paid less now, and it's hard. The cost of living is higher, and labor is taxed, which is complete slavery, you know. And
Right.
so we're living in a really fucking weird system. And for some people, it works great because they don't see, they're on the other side of the pole where their positivity creates more negativities. One winner creates fucking a million losers. And if you get to be a winner and you're all happy and you fight for that, then fuck you, because that just makes a million more losers around you,
Right.
or 1,000 or 10,000 losers. It doesn't matter. Do the math. It's still not 1 in 1 ever. There's never 1 in 1. You know, the winners are the bankers and shit. And everyone else is suffering and shit except for the insurance agent guys or you know what I mean? All the fucking agencies that fucking collect the money that you lost. So, they still survive and thrive, and they're doing very well, actually.
Very well.
Off, man, guys. I'm sorry.
Very well. And then it's like the people that are conscious, that know that money is fake or whatever like that, they still asking for $80. They still saying GoFundMe and all this other kind of stuff. Like send me in $100 for a T-shirt. Just overpricing stuff. I don't mind you doing your thing, but just don't be overpricing. Like we at the mall, the conscious mall.
Yeah. Don't take tax off of people who don't make enough to live already.
Right.
Don't automatically garnish their anything. Makes no damn sense.
And then it's like
the right to live comes first. So it's just like squatters' rights or whatever fucking rights. That comes first. And back in the day, the land of the law of the land, all that kind of stuff. If I was literally dying and I had to fucking scoop up one of your fucking chickens to survive, I literally couldn't be held responsible as a criminal for that.
Right.
Because the survival of life is first. The right to survive comes first before any of that makes any sense.
Right.
And they're actually.
And you shouldn't have to come and take my chicken.
Claiming we're criminals for trying to evade a system that disrupts our right to survive. And people like us that speak out get alienated, and this kind of shit happens, man. And when we talk on real levels like this, you don't hear this kind of shit on Kip's show. On these deeper levels. You hear about fucking just the simple shit. I'm tired of that. Sorry, I did it again.
We did it again.
That's why we're here, to talk that stuff. Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Definitely, man. I had to take my little break to find out who I am. And it's like, the search for Eric is really on. Because I've even been caught in job cycles that was promoted by others, and I haven't found out what the fuck I want to do as far as employment. As far as some type of income. So, it's just the search for self. It's got to be the first thing, the first rule in the morning. Is to know what thyself going to do.
Yeah, man.
The dreams of others are good. Like I said, some people can come up with inventions that are real nice, but if you don't have the finances to back your inventions, then your inventions are not going to be, put out there. So I figure, if the plan is to self-build, right? If the plan is to self-build, why not say in your lectures, okay, donate to my new covenant program or whatever like that, but also save your own money, open up your own private stuff. Begin to give the advice back to the person. The same shit that made you rich, because I know you had to save some shit. You ain't always give yours away. So, if you always giving somebody a giveaway plan, give to me, and really never telling nobody how to save their money or to invest their money and to make more money, then I think you just only being greedy and you in it for self. And I agree with the rest of the community. You ain't nothing but a Beverly Hills scam.
There you go. Yeah. My letter to you, the banker. Not you.
You should be your own private banker.
I'm your private banker.
I know it was coming.
Oh, money. I know
Right.
you.
That's what I'm talking about. Your private banker. That was right.
Make them motherfuckers hit a stripper pole. Come on, banker, shake that ass.
Right.
Make it rain.
Go to work.
No, make it rain.
I'll put them bitches in high heels too. Get up there. Instructions stuff. Work for the people. You know what I'm saying, Grim? Put some real work in for the people. You've been raping
Get out there and go get our money.
with your 25% interest rates. And then they said when Obama came, they dropped to 17. Like, oh, like that's a real big drop. I mean, it's a big drop, but not a real big drop.
Get out there, goddammit. We're going to take over all of Detroit. I'm sorry I had to do it. You saw that Cat Williams, haven't you? Has anybody? Where Cat Williams is talking about how the hooker just believe whatever the pimp, says and just she don't know. He's like, get out there, we're gonna take over all of Detroit. And she's like, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but okay.
Cat Williams is the funniest.
Oh yeah. He also says some weird shilly shit too. I guess they all have to say some shill shit to even be on that level. They have to pretend like they're not shills first to try to gain your trust, and then act like they're saying something against the fucking Illuminati or whatever, the Illuminati. You know what I mean? Against the fucking power struggle, the system. They say something, vaguely, but then they turn around and shill for it. And I can't remember exactly what it fucking was that he was saying, but man, I was disappointed in that little half-pint motherfucker.
I remember.
I have to go back and actually look it up because I really don't,
Yeah, because he had been in jail a whole lot of times.
He did something. Yeah, he said he fucking sold out or something.
Yeah. He went inside of one of the rooms and saw a senator and somebody else getting down, and but see, the girl, you got to go back and you got to watch the Queens of Comedy when Samoa come out, right? The Queens of Comedy Samoa, she tells it real clear in Present Danger. She says out of her mouth that I am tired of going to these parties with all these old ass men in these long ass black socks, slipping and sliding, trying to hit the pussy. I want me a Deshaun or a Dequan with some Timberland boots on, riding it all night long. So she pretty much was telling you about what goes on at those parties. And
it wasn't so much. Yeah, the focal point wasn't so much Dequan and Deshaun and the highlight of the joke that made it funny. It was the actual, fact that there's a bunch of old men out there, old rich men. Old white rich men too.
Right.
She's calling them white, but I bet you they're Jews. And
Jay Leno.
Jay Leno, yeah, of course. The fuck is he? They're all up in there. They're all up in there, wanting to get all up in there all the time. Creeps.
Jay Leno ho. You be like, let me a hoe.
Linda ho. Captain Linda ho.
So. You got all them cars. Like, girl, look at them cars I got. Girl, look at them cars. Take your ass for a ride and never come back.
Man, if I was Jay Leno for a day, I would go sit in one of my favorite cars out there and order a pizza to my car to,
right.
Act like that's the address,
I mean, he got some classy ass rides. I would love to drive a couple of his cars he got.
I've seen people who weren't that rich who were like that.
Yeah, they used to have car shows when I used to live in the county, Owings Mills. I used to love it because the white people from Handom used to bring their cars down to Owens Mills and give us a show. And I always appreciated that because they could have just stayed in Hamden and just paraded up there. So I thought that was nice when they came to Owens Mills finally, because it was always on TV.
Yeah, they got those little car shows out here too. Pretty interesting. See what people, The thing about them is when you look at one of them, you're seeing like, 3 summers of some dad and son thing. You know what I mean? You got to appreciate the whole thing. Not just what the fucking car looks like or something. People are like that. And they're not ask, hey, did you guys build this thing together and shit, and try to get the whole story about, because that's where the interest is to me in these car shows. I really don't care about the actual vehicles so much.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Paint jobs be looking nice, but I do get exactly what you're saying. What took it to get it together? You, your son, your wife, your nephews, your grandchildren.
Some of the greatest stories, dude. Hell yeah. The greatest stories. Like, I've heard stories about people, oh man, you never believe, but transits, a couple of transits needed a place to stay, and I fucking gave them room or board, and they started rebuilding the Chevy for me for free while they were here. And, by the time they were done, that was payment for their rent and shit, and now they got a $30,000 fucking beautiful body rebuilt fucking Chevy and all this kind of shit, and all he did was pay for parts, and keep them drunk and shit like that, probably. Keep them stoned.
Yeah. Some shit do work out, man. It's like I noticed that when I journeyed into the black community, it closed my mind. It's like a black that was a real fucking black hole.
Pun intended. Look at you. Don't be racist.
That shit suck your ass in, Grim. And then it's just like, wow, what's really going on over here? And then you find out that they still need help. So I said, yeah, we just got to keep on working at it as a people. But they justify debating or fighting or going back and forth as a way of getting the information out. I'm like, no, there got to be other methods.
No one listens in a debate.
Right.
No, it's always about the next thing I want to say. It ain't
Right.
never about fucking the next thing you're going to say. That's the way the people are. They always want to go and join a debate to get and think that, and I learned that's not the way to get information out. What all people really hear is the argument. There's no real information gets shared properly because it doesn't get internalized and received by the other person. You know what I mean? Because egos get in the way, and now it's a show about how you look. And then, it becomes the best bullshitter wins in the eyes of people who've never really got the details because of the arguments.
Right.
And it gets sad, man. It's a waste. Especially in these emotional type topics, the religion and stuff. Really a waste. I agree, man.
It turns into an episode of Meet the Bangers.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's just fucking banging.
Right.
You want to go back banging.
Right. That's all it is. And like I said, it's a whole lot of bloodshed psychologically, and people don't even know it. You don't know you're being bamboozled by the people that run the Hegelianism.
Hegelianism.
Yeah, I'm high now. That word really gets
sounds
crazy.
like a new song.
The word is starting to change. It's morphing over this bitch. It's diabolical.
Yeah.
Man. Anything to keep us apart. I ain't know that they was, this crazy. But, even with the left side or right side, who want to be a sheep, who want to be a goat, just anything to split the motherfucking shit up. Yeah. But I love those. I love you because you keep a straight and forward path. You stick to your guns. You you talk about a whole lot of other stuff because your knowledge has expanded and still expanding. But when you hammer down, when you use Thor's hammer, it's recognized. And I suggest that you keep swinging that motherfucker, man. Because you put so much vaccine information into the system that I received that it's in my DNA now not to receive a vaccination. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's in my DNA now. It's got that hell no code to
Right where it belongs, man.
it.
So your future children will be born knowing that shit's fucked up.
Yeah.
Right.
No vaccine. It's written on the code. I appreciate it, man. That's good news.
Yeah, because I ain't gonna learn that from the Moors, because they're not talking about that. I ain't gonna learn that from the Hebrew Israelites. They're not talking about that. I gotta come where it's talked about at.
Line up with you, man, and the info, and just keep spreading it, man. You know what I mean? And we'll align, naturally, without even trying. That's just how it works, man. We'll be on the same goals to help each other. No sense trying to pick on each other's differences and see where we roll together, because ultimately it's us that matters. So what the fuck is all that other stuff? You know what I mean?
Right.
Right. And so, good points, man.
The other stuff is good for you in your place if you want to do that. I don't knock nobody hustle,
No,
but
yeah, no, I hear you.
I just want the realism. I'd rather do realism. If the water is wet, let me fucking know. If it's cold, let me know. I don't want to jump in the pool and the water steaming fucking hot.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah,
it
it's
real.
cold. It's subjective because relative to what? It's cold. It's too late now. I've already stepped in it, asshole. Yes, it's cold. My body temperature, motherfucker. Yeah. Don't take all day answering the question either. Shit. Usually I'm asking because we're at present.
Right. It's only
Right.
what I
I like
need
that.
to know right now. I need to know.
Shit,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I appreciate the kind words, Eric. Man, I really do, man. I mean, shit. I don't hear him. I don't hear him enough. So it's good to get. But
The real me still exists, man. It was just that cloud shit was heavy.
yeah, and
Cloud
they
shit was
that shit.
heavy.
It's like, and you know how storms go. They go in circles, man. So you got to be careful because you realize it'll try and creep back around on you. You might be in the eye right now. You never know.
You
You know
never
what I'm
know.
saying? The eye of the hurricane, and then it feels all clear, and then here comes from the back end.
But I'm working on not reacting out of my emotions when I see an event because I know I'm being bamboozled totally now. Whether if it's Justice Scalia or some Black Lives kid just got killed, I know not to react out of my emotions. I know to search and investigate and do things the right way now because it's a process to this stuff. Because if you don't use the right process, you're going to get caught up in the whirlwind of any emotions, and your video is going to come out cracker this, damn that, fuck you. It's going to come out all fucked up, and ain't nobody going to get what you're saying.
Exactly. I feel that, man. I appreciate that. It's time for me to eat, guys. I mean,
Good
not
time.
guys, but it's time for me to eat you all. Not you all, but hold on. I have to eat dinner
Like,
now.
we still alive. Like I did it again.
Eat you all. Thanks, Rebecca, for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Letting me, ramble. I hope I didn't do too much. For standards. Thanks everybody out there in the chat and everything. Say bye. Take care. And I'll be back around sometime. Take care.
You too.
Peace, bro. Wow. I'm actually surprised my computer working because it don't normally work. You know, cell phones don't work, computer don't work.
Shit.
It's just don't nothing work. You know, I appreciate the time that Google. Matter of fact, I'm actually grateful for Google. You know, they said, "Well, Eric, we're gonna let you say something tonight." So I do appreciate y'all letting me say something tonight, because you know, I guess the system know when you need to speak. You know, the universe will create situations where the system can't stop you, and you know, what must be done will be done, or what must be said will be said. And you know, I just say, just be mindful of your life, your family members' lives. You know, don't let people from other countries talk about America and then they knock on your door and don't knock on theirs. You know, that's all I'm trying to say. You know, because you can be guilty by association and they're not gonna get their doors pushed in, but you may get yours in because you in North Carolina, South Carolina, California. You know, so you know you have to be careful. You know, I ain't trying to fear among or nothing like that. I'm just saying, you know, hey, let's just keep it 100.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, I know it.
some stuff you may have to not talk about. You know, if you wanna do your thing, you know, have some longevity. You know, you might want to expand on to some other things as well, and not just be known for the box, because
Yeah.
they created the box to put you in it. They feed you the negative information just so you can talk about it. So you know, if we turn to solutionists, you know, where we don't even really deal with the problems or discuss the problems, but we discuss the aftermath and the end effect that's created through and by us.
Mm.
You know, because we know the end of some things. Some things we know the end of. So maybe we should start talking about the greatness that is in each and every one of us, and begin to talk about the great ending of this lifestyle that we've chosen to ride with, because we can change the outcome just by thought, according to some research. You know, so we begin to think in a totally collective, positively way. You know, that maybe we can change the dynamics of the whole planet and turn this
Yeah.
world upside down like it need to be. You know, because the more they cry division, the more we gotta cry louder togetherness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we gotta be just the opposite. But then that's just creating balance. So see, now you want to move past that. You know, that's what I'm talking about. We don't just want to create balance. We want to move past that. You know, that's where the solutions come in at. You know. So thanks a lot, Rebecca, for having me on. This has been As My World Turned, casual chat. You know, shout out to the chat room and everybody. You know,
Hey
one
guys.
communities. You know, like I said, I'm gonna be signing off here. This probably, I don't even know if this is gonna be the last one. You know, I keep saying that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm pretty much done. You know, I'm at the end of my road with this, because it's time for me to take what I've learned and bring it home, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, we've been pouring out for 2 years and not taking in anything. You know, it's pretty much draining. It's pretty much draining to the family, our immediate families. You know, spend a whole lot of time trying to prove points, and some people don't even want you to prove a point. You know, so there's some gratitude levels that need to be risen up before we can really get back and, you know, I guess, into that feeling of wanting to do more socially, you know, because expectations um, um, are to be positively accepted, or at least that's what we think, but because we're not used to being shut down or told no or negative, or at least we don't look for that on these type of sites.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality, when reality hits you, that people don't agree with you, and then that's when you begin to have problems. So it's just like you just gotta know what's really going on, know yourself, know your surroundings, know the people that you're talking to, and and know how to deal with agreements and disagreements on a way better level, as opposed to further threatening people as the conversation go along. Yeah, so hopefully I've said some things to help y'all. Hopefully, I apologize if I've hurt anybody or offended anybody with anything I've said and y'all misunderstood it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, even when I made my so-called racism videos, I was always talking about the elite. I was never talking about my friends, family, followers, or acquaintance. I was always talking about the same Rothschilds or whoever else we have depicted as the ones, or the theys, or the thems. None of my stuff has never been directed at the people that I grew up with on this motherfucker. So I hope y'all get that, and this is gonna be the last time I say that shit.
And we got it on record yet.
Yeah, you got it on record that I was never banging on y'all. It's never about y'all, because y'all have always shown me love. Y'all the only ones that come to my shows.
Mm.
So that kind of lets you know that I was never talking about y'all.
Yeah.
But when things are like that are being talked about, it just sounds ugly. Period. It sounds ugly. Period. Matter of fact, my girl was like, "Damn, that's all you can say." She tired of it. So if she tired of it, I'm tired of it. Everybody just tired of the shit. And that's what, like I say, that's what the Hegelianism dialectics do. It not only tear you up, it tear up your home, it tear up social media, it tears up every fucking thing. It's meant to rip apart,
Mm-hmm.
not to put back together.
Yep.
So so have a good time, man. Like I said, do the right thing for the right reasons.
Yep.
If you can't if you can't say it in front of the police, shit, don't say it on this motherfucker. You got to begin to know your levels. Be wise master builders, because I see that in the black community, they avoid this shit that we talk about because they ain't trying to get sparked on. They know what's out there. They is on some smart shit when it comes to that. They avoid these type of subjects. It's rarely talked about on Saw Leonard TV about the government and all that other kind of bullshit. In some cases, they could be funded by the government, and that's why they don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be those cases too. You got this big ass studio building about $7,000 a month. Ain't no way in the world that these little videos you put up supplying that shit. You ain't selling enough hats. But I don't know. I can't really get in another man's business. However it's getting done, it's getting done. But as for me in my house, shit. All I can do is sing your song. Who's making love to your old lady while you was out making love? Stay your ass home. See you later, y'all. One
Thank you.
love.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we will see you tomorrow night. 8ish, 8:30. Thanks to the chat for coming. Everybody watching. Good night.